Hey guys, after a long absence, this is Chris, and this is my piece of the reef. I think over the last year or so, I suffered from what a lot of people call success boredom, where I had a ton of stuff growing and everything really looked good, and I got so bored with the tank, and you suffer from a little bit of boredom fatigue because everything is going well. Sorry about the glare there. And then all of a sudden, something goes wrong, horribly wrong. And for me, that turned out to be a Kimura doser that I've actually hated from day one. And I just have found it to be unreliable. The heads didn't really work correctly. The software was difficult, if not impossible to use. It would constantly disconnect from my Wi-Fi. And over the course of about 2 weeks, my tank took a really bad turn for the worst. And everything, prior to that looked really good, but life had kind of set in. My daughter had COVID, then my son and I both got COVID, then my mom passed away, and then we lost our 13-year-old chocolate lab. And when life gets in the way, like everyone else, I think our tanks suffer terribly. And that's what happened here. And I developed a really bad case of GHA, which went on to become dinos. I had a lab test that was really abnormal. As far as it wasn't reading correctly. It was a Red Sea test kit that was relatively new. It wasn't expired or anything. And I had mixed up salt from Red Sea, and I had been using Red Sea for my dosing supplements, and nothing went well. So I think a combination of a bad batch of salt, a bad batch of KH mix, Red Sea KH mix, both of which were obtained through Amazon, really screwed things up a lot. My tank had been very stable with its dosing, and all of a sudden my KH literally jumped over a period of 2 weeks to greater than 20. I had a huge die off in the tank. I lost a bunch of corals, and I couldn't kind of figure out what was going on because everything kind of seemed right. I never thought that there would be a doser issue or a salt mix or a supplement issue. And prior to that, everything had been so stable. I was only testing labs maybe once a month, if that, and I hadn't really done any water changes in more than a year. But like I said, if you look back at some of my old videos, the corals are just enormous. Most of these colonies are the size of baseballs, or even bigger. I mean, if you go back to some of my videos, that was a small frag of $500 effluent. That colony was small. Like dark mall Parietes was really small. I mean, these things were, tiny, really tiny. And lo and behold, there's my Walt Disney. And lo and behold, I got a hold of, bought all brand new reagents, test kits, and it took forever basically to get the KH down. I mean, the alkalinity was greater than 20 on my HANA test kit, despite 25-gallon water changes every couple of days. So I can't imagine what it was in reality, because the HANA tester maxes out at 20. So what did this cause me to do? Well, first thing, that Kimura doser got thrown in the trash. I wound up buying an Apex Neptune, the EL, because I thought that was the most cost efficient. And a Neptune dose, and I currently, at the time rather, was using the Neptune ATK, so I piggybacked that in there. And over the course of several weeks with many water changes, the tank started to recover. And then I opened up a new batch of Red Sea salt, and I was using the Coral Pro, and I mixed up about 20 gallons of it, and I checked the alkalinity, and the alkalinity was like 14. So, I always mix to, 1.026, 1.025, and that's what this was measuring at. So I'm not exactly sure if I was getting, another bad batch of salt. Again, purchased through Amazon. So I did not do the water change. I tossed the salt. I ordered a bunch of supplements, of the pharma supplements from Bulk Reef Supply. Started mixing up my own supplements, and I purchased from a local store some Red Sea, Coral Pro salt. Mixed it up. It tested appropriate, and went back to doing, water changes every 3 to 4 days to try to get everything stable. And lo and behold, it became stable. The alkalinity settled in at about 12. The calcium was about 450, and magnesium was off the chart. So what did I do next? I made the decision to start the Bulk Reef Supply Tropic Marin balling method, and that's what I'm doing right now. And I've been doing that for maybe 3 to 4 weeks now, and I'm absolutely loving it. I can't believe what a turnaround it's made. I still have the KH at about 10, and my goal is to bring it down to about 9 in order to get some more color out of the corals. I mean, this phone doesn't do it justice, but these corals are looking spectacular now. The high KH I kept in order to get maximum growth, and my growth was really exponential because of it, but it was just, I think it's too dangerous. You get one bad batch of salt, and your 12, quickly becomes 14, quickly becomes 16, and then you're fighting what I fought. So we have some automation now. I have a Vectra return pump. I have Vortex wave makers, and I have Ecotech Radiant Gen 4 XR15s. And I think we're going to keep everything like that for a while. Keep it nice and stable. But over the course of the next few videos, I want to show people, what it's like to make a comeback, because I was really depressed, and I've been totally rejuvenated by this. I didn't really lose any livestock because of this, and I've added, you can see that clown tang. He's absolutely one of my favorite fishes ever. And, it is what it is, I guess, at this point. But hopefully you guys will follow along with me on this new journey using the Tropic Marin Bulk Reef Supply modified balling method. And I'll go over some things like the new rock I put in, the branching rock, because I have a new addition who's in quarantine right now. I actually have 2 in quarantine, and I'll add them in. One of the fish I've wanted for a really long time, and I was finally able to get. So thanks for watching. As always, happy reefing. Keep your labs, keep your labs monitored, and take care. Thanks.